Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of J Cal's View. This is the journey of a journalist. This is where I pontificate about pro wrestling. And this is my point of view. And I am exhausted. I left my home about 11 hours ago to be a part of the inaugural episode of the United Wrestling Network Primetime Live. Sure, you could have ordered it on pay-per-view, and I hope you did. Heard a lot of people had some issues with that, but I called in a favor. I asked my good old friend David Marquez if I could be there live, and I was. And what I saw was history in the making. What I saw was a culmination of months of planning, maybe even years of planning. The United Wrestling Network had been looking to do something big for quite some time, and I really think that they hit the mark tonight. Now, I know there were issues with the streaming services. If you ordered through Fight, apparently there was a lot of glitches, a lot of just issues with the recording, and that sucks because you guys really missed out on what I think is going to be a hallmark of Tuesday nights going forward. Because what we saw, guys, we saw some good wrestling, we saw some good stories being told. We were introduced to new characters, new players, new faces in this universe, this United Wrestling Network universe of professional wrestling. That includes the National Wrestling Alliance. That includes Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and Championship Wrestling from Arizona and West Coast Pro Wrestling. We were introduced to so many new faces and names that if this is the first time you've tuned into the United Wrestling Network, clearly you won't know who anybody is. But if this was your 100th time watching a product from United Wrestling Network, you might have seen something new, something different. And I think it was so unique. And I think that for Tuesday nights, that I know that, you can turn on Impact and watch Impact. You can turn on, the WWE Network and watch some old wrestling. But this was something different. And for those of you that gave the United Wrestling Network a chance, you plopped down your $7.99 for one episode, or you went all in and bought the first 4 episodes for $23.99, I think you were treated to something different. So, give me just a minute, and I'll give you my point of view, J Cal's view, after this. Now, for anyone that ordered the pay-per-view, the good news is that the United Wrestling Network is sending the master copy to Fight so that your replay will be as it was intended to be seen, as it was recorded live. Now, that's the drawback from doing a live wrestling event, a live pay-per-view, is that, well, things can happen. I mean, let's face it, shit happens. Nobody's perfect, and I don't know if it was from Thunder Studios, I don't know if it was the United Wrestling Network, and I don't know if it was Fight TV. I was there, guys. I was in Thunder Studios. I was the lone person not on the payroll. I mean, I don't think I was the only wrestling fan there, because I think in some degree you have to be a fan of this crazy, crazy business to get there. And as Dave introduced me to a few people there, I was identified as a reporter for the United Wrestling Network, and that was really gratifying. Sometimes it's easy to forget your value when you do a thankless job. And I'm not asking for anyone to feel sorry for me. In fact, quite the opposite. Dave Marquez's kindness over the years has afforded me the opportunity to travel the world, honestly. I got to go to China because of David Marquez. I've been a part of many Dave's endeavors when it comes to professional wrestling. I've known Dave for 20 years. And in that time, I was there for the debut of the New Japan USA Tokon TV series that was filmed in Santa Monica. I was there for, even before that, I was there for his first round of doing television tapings in Glendale with Epic Pro Wrestling. Dave was producing and directing that event. I was there for that. I was with Dave when the second time, not the first time, but the second time they went to the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, as part of the Pro Wrestling Summit. It wasn't the Copa de Lucha, but it was Fiesta Lucha, and this was part of the Wrestling Summit series where at the time, NWA Pro Wrestling, along with Wrestling Society X and elements of Lucha Libre, were produced together to put on these shows that featured, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce defending the back then NWA Heritage title against Nelson Creed, the Los Luchas taking on Real American Heroes. Sorry, I get a little distracted, but these were big arena event shows. I was with Dave Marquez when they filmed the initial pilot of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood at the Columbia Square Studios in Los Angeles, California. I was there with Dave when they started filming the NWA Pro Wrestling Showcase in those same Columbia Square Studios. I was with Dave when they shot the pilot for what would become the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, the second pilot, if you will, that they were shopping to KDOC on a 3-day tour between San Bernardino, Yuma, Arizona, and Oceanside. In fact, it was reverse order. But so I've been with Dave through a lot. I was there in China, obviously. I was there at the 70th anniversary show. I was there at the Crockett Cup. I was there for Power. So it was only fitting. It felt like the universe demanded that I be there in Long Beach. So of course, when I asked Mr. David Marquez if I could be at this event, and he said, sure, just go get COVID tested, I jumped at it. And it was well worth it, guys, because not only seeing that venue in person and seeing this wrestling show in person, I can tell you that if you were disappointed from the stream, please go back and watch it once the show gets re-uploaded in its master format, because you will not be disappointed. It was such a good night of wrestling. I think that there were some elements that some people would be disappointed in. I do feel like maybe they ran out of time there towards the end, and the World's Heavyweight Championship match didn't get the time that it probably should have. But I also feel like this show really did showcase what the United Wrestling Network is looking to do. David Marquez in the past has been so good at finding these diamonds in the rough. I mean, remember when Scrap Iron Adam Pearce won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, a lot of people weren't even familiar with who he was. He being Dave was also responsible for finding guys like Fergal Devitt, who you guys know as Finn Balor in the WWE, the NXT champion. He discovered Carl the Machine Gun Anderson. He brought Mikey Nichols to the United States. He put a shine on Rocky Romero. And over the years, whether it be Scorpio Sky or Peter Avalon or Eli Drake, David Marquez has been really good. And I don't say that he made these stars, because of course you have to put in the work, but certainly he should get some credit for polishing these guys and getting them ready for that next step. But I think today the next step might be the United Wrestling Network. Because tonight we saw the West Coast Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion defend his title, the United Wrestling Network TV Champion defend his belt, and of course the 10 pounds of gold made its returned to Long Beach, California. Well, I shouldn't say the 10 pounds of gold. The NWA World's Heavyweight Championship returned to Long Beach, California, because the 10 pounds of gold wasn't even a thing the last time the NWA World's Championship was in Long Beach. In fact, the NWA formed in 1948. The last time the World's Heavyweight Champion was defended in Long Beach was in 1952. Lou Thesz defeated Mr. Moto. And the thing that you have to think about that is 68 years since that championship had been defended in Long Beach. And I'm not saying that the NWA didn't come to Southern California. I mean, Flair defended here, Terry Funk defended here, Harley Race defended here in Southern California, Gene Kiniski, of course, Lou Thesz. All of these champions had defended here, but specific to Long Beach, even when David Marquez was producing his shows throughout Southern California, not once did they bring the world's champion to Long Beach. When Vendetta Pro started promoting events in Long Beach, they didn't bring the NWA World's Champion in. So it's kind of funny and almost a little auspicious that the title had been to Long Beach in 68 years. But of course, our World's Heavyweight Champion was showcased in a match against Mike Bennett. And a lot of people think that match didn't get enough time or that there was some sort of screwy finish. But being there live in person, I saw a lot of intensity. I saw a lot of passion in both men's eyes. And ultimately, I think this match lends itself to a rematch. That I don't think this is just going to be a one and done. I think Michael Bennett proved that he deserves every opportunity that's presented in front of him. And his intensity in this match, his never say die attitude, his unwillingness to cheat. Michael Bennett made a name for himself tonight. Out of the shadows of the WWE, out of the shadows of his wife, Michael Bennett manned up tonight, and that's for damn sure. You can still order the Fight TV pay-per-view. Single episodes are $7.99. Of course, you can get the package. I don't know if the package is still available. I'm sure it is. And you can get that for $23.99 for the first 4 episodes of the United Wrestling Network's pay-per-view. Of course, they announced matches for next week's episode. Thunder Rosa will defend her women's championship against Priscilla Kelly. Eli Drake will have a matchup against Eric Watts. I love Watts. That's my guy. We'll see Ray Rosas defending the Hollywood Heritage Championship. Carl Fredericks from New Japan Pro Wrestling will be there. It really looks like this United Wrestling Network, this pay-per-view series is really on the right track. Hopefully the broadcasting issues will be resolved. Hopefully they'll have less glitches in the programming for next week. Hopefully no glitches, right? But at the end of the day, I really think that people who order the pay-per-view and will get to see it without the glitches are really going to be appreciative of what they got. $5 for 90 minutes of pro wrestling. I think everyone is a winner. And whether you like the pay-per-view or not, it's still an opportunity for the NWA to grow, for the United Wrestling Network to grow. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see what becomes of Chris Dickinson after he savagely defeated Showtime Jordan Cruz. I mean, the guy was beaten with an inch of his life, but he tweeted that he's not dead, so we all can celebrate that. We'll see what happens between Howdy Price's Levi Shapiro and Dan Joseph in that United Wrestling Network TV title. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's next for Camille as she continues to steamroll the women's division of pro wrestling. And maybe that this leads to a showdown. Maybe this leads to a matchup with Thunder Rosa in the United Wrestling Network. Maybe we'll see shooter Aaron Stevens show up and defend his NWA National Championship. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to see if there's a continuation of the feud between the Tribe and the Wolf Zaddies, because that, my friends, was brutality at its most brutal. And I can't wait to see what happens next. If you guys like the show, make sure you hit subscribe. And that's going to do it for this episode of J Cal's View. I do appreciate you guys tuning in every week. And of course, we do the pre-parties Tuesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, ahead of the Primetime Live series. Of course, you can also catch me on Fridays on Instagram with Hey, It's Will Daily for This Is the NWA podcast, where we do our hot tag and talk a little NWA. And there's more podcast coming down the pike. Hope you guys will stay tuned and check those out. But until next time, I'm J Cal, and I'll see you at the matches.